Everyone, it's Roger and James here from the DisKingdom Podcast. Well, we talked about it last week, but now it's official. Disney are going to be purchasing a number of assets, so basically they're going to be purchasing the whole of 21st Century Fox, which includes tons of different bits and pieces. So what we're going to be doing this week, and this is there's actually going to be 4 separate episodes this week. We're going to be going into a bit of detail on the movies, the video games, the TV, and the theme parks. It's kind of way too big a deal to kind of just try and squeeze into one little episode, so I thought it made a little bit more sense. So this episode, we're going to be talking about the deal as a whole, and primarily how it affects the movie slate of things. So just to give you a brief rundown of what this includes. So it includes a number of entertainment properties, including X-Men, Avatar, The Simpsons, the Fox Networks, National Geographics. It expands Disney's direct-to-consumer offerings with the addition of 21st Century's content. It also means that they have got a major channel systems stake in Hulu. They've got another 30% in that. They've also got major networks now in America, Europe, Asia. Ironically, my internet now I use Sky as my subscriber. I'm actually now going to be paying Disney for my internet. That's how it's got to that point where, so they've got a 39% stake of Sky in this, and they've also got Star in India, and Bob Iger is going to remain chairman until 2021. Includes a massive number of movies and stuff. Like I said, loads of stuff to talk about. So let's just jump now into the movie side of things. So I mentioned there, let's get the Marvel thing out of the way first off. So first off,
Marvel's the big one.
It's the one that everyone goes on about, but for me it's actually the least important of the lot, because I don't feel it as that being anything unique. They've got the X-Men back. They specifically said Fantastic Four, so that whole issue of whether or not they had them. So them coming back into the fold, great news for Marvel, great stuff for this. Fox is still continuing on for another 12 months to 18 months, because the deal might take that long because it's got to go through some regulatory issues. I'm going to be honest, I view that even if this sale doesn't go through in this current format, which I think it will do, I don't think there's going to be any problems, assets will be sold off in chunks if it didn't afterwards. They'd be like, well, you can have this bit and you can have that bit. So just this stuff's happening regardless now. There is apparently going to be like a $2 billion fine if either company pull out without other than regulatory issues. So if there's a bill, this ain't going to fall through. This is too big for that. But yeah, so the X-Men and Fantastic Four and Deadpool, that's all now coming back to Fox. We're still going to see New Mutants and also Dark
Deadpool
Phoenix, 2. Deadpool 2. They're saying they're starting work on Gambit in February, and they're still saying everything's carrying on. I'm really not sure if that might still happen or not. It's a bit iffy. But yeah, so the X-Men are back. I don't have a problem. I think this is great, and I've seen some people throwing around words of like, oh, it's not very good competition. No, the competition is DC. They are the competition. Spawn, Hellboy. Those are the competition. I feel a little bit like, people saying, oh, it's not good for this comic book. It's like, no, that is their characters. That is their stuff. It shouldn't... the competition comes from Warner Brothers for this. This is where you should be looking, not towards Marvel to create their... It's not the WWE where they create a roster brand. This is DC are their own ones.
Yeah, I mean, DC's old nickname at Marvel was the Distinguished Competition. So, I agree on this one. All of the Marvel properties should really be under the Marvel banner. Not like X-Men was something that was completely different. It was, created by a different company and then they brought it in or whatever. It's always been Marvel ever since they were originally introduced, ever since the 70s again when they were brought back. They were the flagship team.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if Marvel had the X-Men license, or if Disney had the X-Men license, we probably would never have gotten the Avengers, because they would have been using the X-Men, because that was their most recognizable brand. Still is in the top 3, despite what Capcom may think. And, this is good for them.
Yeah.
And, if, honestly, Fox hasn't really been doing... No, I'll take that back. Logan and Deadpool were both really, really good. But, the things they've been doing with the X-Men, it was mediocre. Yeah. They needed to get this back on the Marvel brand. Now, obviously, we're not going to see the impact of this for several movies.
No.
I mean, we might get a slug. We might get an end credit sequence where, like, you know, somebody's popping some claws at someone. And I wouldn't even say like Infinity Wars. This would be a 2019 kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
I think it'd be like name dropping the Baxters or Xavier or something like that. That'll be as all we're going to.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's like, you know, this is like it's a separate issue really for Fox, and for me, that thing of like the X-Men. You know, people said about them having less Marvel movies and less, and it's like, actually, I could quite happily have one less Marvel movie a year. I think there'll be too much of it. Going to four Marvel movies a year is going to be pushing it. So I'm quite happy for them to pull back a bit and have one or two less if it means better quality. But so now let's put the Marvel on a shelf, because that's kind of it's a kind of weird thing. It's like the main thing of it's like, you already own the X-Men. Why are you like? You've just brought thousands of movies on the back catalogue. You have just purchased Avatar, Die Hard, Alien, Predator, Simpsons, you know, Family Guy, and you're still going on about the X-Men that you already own. It was just like a bit like, okay, and they needed to specifically state it in the press release that they had them, but it did seem like there's so many more franchises they've got.
They did have to specifically name drop it. They had to specifically name drop it and Fantastic Four because fans have been going, why isn't Doctor Doom in this? Why isn't Mr. Fantastic? Why isn't Wolverine in the Avengers and so on? Yeah. And honestly, Marvel is their second biggest brand right behind Star Wars. So of course we're going to get it. But it is also a small, tiny little chunk of the pie. It's such a giant catalog of properties that Fox is handing over to them. The repercussions of this, the things that Disney will now have creative investment in now, is mind-boggling. It's I can't even really comprehend it. There are things that we haven't even thought of yet. The back catalog is massive. Disney has, in one stroke, basically taken over like 40% of the industry. So
yeah, I mean, looking at the box office results from last night, for example, from the global weekend, there are 6 out of the top 10 movies that are Disney and Fox. You know, Fox have got a lot of in this. If there's a massive number of brands in there, but I feel like Disney almost feel like, but when they concentrated on the big blockbusters, because they cut back what they were producing, Touchstone Pictures and Miramax and all this lot, they all stopped. They moved away from all the little independents, and we just went for blockbusters. And it's been a very successful system. But I'm wondering if they felt like they've lost a market share in outside of those franchises. They weren't getting these little movies. They weren't getting much attention, whereas Fox was picking up more and more of the independent line with its Searchlight and a few other situations. And I feel like this is part of Disney's way of not only getting back in that game of, you know, if you got like The Greatest Showman, which is out in a couple of just after Christmas, you know, something like that is something that they've not been doing very much recently, and it is a gaping hole in their side that they might have had the biggest movies of the year, but they're not hitting all the little ones. And you know, in fact, you know, people say, oh, it's not so good for competition and stuff, but I'm going to be honest, Netflix and Amazon are they're the new, when they talk about the big 6 studios and all the rest of it, and Netflix and Amazon are becoming the new studios. That's kind of how this is going to, in my view, and I don't view that's saying there's no competition. There is competition. It's just shifted from where they used to be. But I think 20th century or 21st century Fox, their movie line, I think Disney realized that there's something missing, and they were missing something for a different audience. And if they want to go after Hulu, because there was a very much distinction of Hulu's going to become essentially their adult branded content. And I think they're basically going to have a free tiered streaming thing. So we'll talk about that in the TV section a bit more. But there's a lot of stuff here that they've brought, massive back catalogue to fill this system up. But more importantly, franchises. Because I think like Avatar, Planet of the Apes, they can be incorporated into the Disney brand.
Oh, easily. I mean, some of them are already there in all but name anyway. So, you know, I mean, they've got the Avatar part of the Animal Kingdom and so on. And then, it's like you mentioned that these smaller studios getting a chance to create smaller movies again will be very important to them because, as popular as the Marvel movies are, as popular as the Star Wars movies are, they're not risks. Even, what people are saying about Last Jedi is like they did some risky stuff with Star Wars. Yeah, well, it's still Star Wars. It could literally be 2 hours of Luke Skywalker just staring at you going, I'm controlling your mind or something like that. And people would make $1 billion at the box office. It's not a risky investment. Whereas these smaller programs, the ones you're talking about, like under Miramax and the old studios, were. And, it's great for the stockholders for them to not take risks, but it also doesn't push the medium at all.
Yeah,
so hopefully...
Yeah, I was going to say, there is just so much to this, the movie thing, and there's so many franchises. I mean, I've literally been making, since we kind of found out about this, I made sort of a list of franchises that are, and there's still a few ifs and buts over what franchises are owned and which they just got movie rights, like Kingsman, for example. That's an Image comic book. Have they just got the rights to the movies, or have they got rights to the whole property? We don't quite yet know. There are some other movies, things that, because there's been a lot of stories going, there's been so many stories going around over the internet over the weekends showing off all these different franchises, and some of them I'm reading these big main websites, and I'm going, no, that's not, they haven't got the rights to this. They've only got the distribution rights, or there's that line between whether or not if they own the IP, and if they own the actual, or if they only own the movie that they produced. So there's still a few more things to be sorted out. But things like Kingsman, they've owned those 2 movies, but I don't specifically know if they actually own the IP of Kingsman.
In all likelihood, they don't, because the Image comics, almost all Image comics are produced as creator-owned properties, and the creators aren't going to sign over rights like that, especially a guy like Mark Millar, who is the original writer of Kingsman. This is what he does. He writes treatments, and then they turn them into movies, and he just collects the check. But he owns them, lock, stock. So
things like that are a bit iffy, but they have got lots of things. I can see a reboot for Planet of the Apes. I can see that easily taking place in, maybe in 5-10 years. Let that go, because while the new ones have been pretty successful, it's probably they're probably a little bit too adult variation for the Disney brand. But I do think Planet of the Apes could be a little Disney. It could come under the Disney brand quite easily with them. But on that note, it's very much kind of this like weird thing, really. There is so much to talk about, and the movies are a massive part of it, but it's not the only thing. So be sure to check out later in the week when we're talking about some other aspects of the Fox deal, but we're going to be probably talking about this for months ahead. But what you are going to start seeing, and this is a key thing, you're going to start seeing a lot more Fox content, specifically on this channel and also on our website. Essentially, from the point that deal came through, I'm now treating all these products as Disney, as the same I would do if they were Star Wars or Marvel. So, as a head note, we're going to be talking about Fox movies a little bit more, and there's going to be stories coming up about stuff like this, because as far as I'm concerned, these are now Disney-owned properties. It might take a year to come in, but like when Marvel and Star Wars come in, they're coming in regardless, so we might as well jump in on it. But we'd love to know your thoughts on all of this. You can get in touch with me over at DisKingdom.com. You can get in touch with James over at HeroicLegacy.com. And we'll be back with another episode soon. Later.